Hello, my friends. I'm Rick, and this is your seat at the table. A little Missy sitting back here in the corner somewhere, behaving herself, and we are looking at the Northwind Highlanders. The most of all the BattleTech regiments, all the storied backstory of mercenary units or units. Period. You have to put in the if you're going to top there's a lot of argument who would be in the top five. But I would have to argue that the Northwind Highlanders are equally in the top five, and in part because literally they have a storied tradition that goes back to pre-spaceflight Earth, and they literally can track back to being one of the oldest functioning military organizations in existence for humanity since ancient times. In modern times, they have worked. Their story's been kind of a tragic one, where the actual regiments were all but banished from their homeworld because their homeworld had been occupied by a foreign entity while they were off-world fulfilling contracts for other people. And the House Liao had basically been doing the carrot for generations, constantly or occasionally making that, that talk about retaking Northwind, which in reality would at that time would have required them to retake a lot more planets and border areas of the Federated Suns and then retain them, which was not likely going to happen. And then even the Chancellor knew this. So at the part of the crucial point of the Fourth Succession War, one of the fabulous political coups that takes place is Hans Davion basically agreeing to give Northwind to the Highlanders, if on the caveat that the Highlanders surrender fighting against them and cease fighting for the compelling Confederation. And so they actually do this. And they do. They withdraw, and these are crucially needed elite and veteran units that Liao could ill afford to lose. So it was a big blow, and it also just expedited the conquering of even more compelling worlds during the Fourth Succession War. This led to some political issues after the fact too, though, as typical of most monarchy-driven big houses, great houses. The certain elements within the Federated Commonwealth at the time were leaning pretty hard on the neo-independent Northwind. They were, and also dragging their feet into making it fully independent, which had been part of the deal. Part of the deal for the Highlanders units to, jump ship to basically come home was the liberation of their home world, their home system for them, not to be maintained in perpetual, whatever, by yet another overlord or the same one who conquered it 250 odd years in the past. So this causes some problems and grief. When they cover it in a couple novels, and it continues to cause agitation even up into more modern eras. I haven't seen any, I should restrict that. I have not seen any real decent or any Northwind Highlander novels of worth that are in the Ill Clan era, or in that I can think of, or in, of course, the Dark Ages era. The last I have of them is we talk in the probably the 30s, 60s era kind of stuff, where they get a little bit sucker punched. They truly gain their independence with help of some shisty stuff by the Compellans and a former death commando come home, Lauren Chaffee, which I think there's a couple novels based, and they're pretty good novels. I know I have read them, so I should say I don't know that. I don't think I know. So I want to get into the Highlanders a little bit more. One of the things I always loved about the source book, and I swear to God I've got the actual source book some freaking place somewhere. I can't find it on the shelves, but I just know I have this damn thing somewhere. And so it just drives me nuts. So I was able to get my hands on a PDF version of it, for which I am grateful, so we can get on with it and talk about it. So we give everything I basically told you in the pre-log coming up into this is already explained in this front section, explaining the ancient origins of the Northwind Highlanders and all the different eras of their history, including the Royal Black Watch Regiment when it formed and how it kind of made its existence through the history to modern times. And I would not be surprised if it still exists someplace, somehow, somewhere within the Northwind Highlanders, if nothing else. And then we get into the more modern times, leading up into the 3060 era, which is, like I said, the era I'm familiar with. And then we get into some battle scenarios and things like this, which is, they're okay. I mean, they're fine, especially if you're just looking to recreate a situation just to play it out yourself, to figure out how it played out. And because sometimes you play these things out, you read them and some authors wrote about them in a novel, and you go out and you try to play them out on the battle map. And you go, how the hell did so and so do this with that mech? I don't, how, right? Other than saying, you take the, literary license, right? That's kind of, right? And we also have a battle forces encounter here. Scenario 10, a deal with the dragon. So this would be an aerospace and a ground space potential conflict for battle space force, and then battle tech forces. Right? Played me more than a few of these, I can tell you that. So, getting down here, final scenario pack. One of the things it doesn't do that. I wish it would have broke down all the key regiments and military units that they have in greater detail. I mean, they only focus on one or a couple of them, but they don't give us as much detail I would have liked to have. So that's what we're getting into here. So personalities, the various colonels, and including Lieutenant Colonel Lauren Jaffe, the former Death Commando. So we get the Northwind Highlanders unit summary: 1st Kearney Highlanders, 2nd Kearney, McLeod's Regiment, Sterling's Fusiliers, the Northwind Hussars, independent units including the Black Watch and the 1st Gurkhas. And yet I would love to have a little deeper background. I'd say a whole page devoted to each regiment command, but so we can actually get a deeper breakdown of the lance composition and things like this. But it is what it is. It's still, when it comes to an overview for a lot of combat units in BattleTech, this is one of the better ones. Because, like I said, it gives you the rich, deep history and the story and the attitude or the atmosphere of what it would be like to be in the Northwood Highlanders. So here we get a modified Black Watch 85-ton mech, and the Shillington, some kind of wheeled 80-ton tank. I always like some of these additions and stuff, right? Whether these are canon or not, I don't know. So this, like I said, this is a good one. And if you have any interest whatsoever in the Northwind Highlanders, you can get this book. It's a good step to lead forward. I mean, the Northwind's information, you'll find a lot of basic stuff scattered about in mercenary source books and things like this, which is fine. But they as themselves are also very limiting. They're colorful, but not all that informative, in my opinion. So when they create stuff like this, here's the opportunity to give us a better, deeper, richer understanding of the unit and the overall command above it. And so they do a very good job with this supplement. That's what I said. It's pretty damn good. And I know you can get this. I think I've seen it on RPG Drive-Thru or whatever it's called. Anyway. Until next time, I'm Rick. You're not. Hope you guys have yourself a great weekend. We're coming up mid part of February. It's unnaturally warm here in Iowa. It's very strange. I'm looking forward to I've got a long day tomorrow, but it's mostly just driving. I got one little job at 8 in the morning, and then I drive about 3 hours north. It takes about 2 hours 40 minutes to drive up to Mesa City in that truck, and then I got a job there. It's a hotel, and then I drive all the way back to town and I go empty the truck. So hopefully be home by 4 or 5 o'clock. And the real trick is that last 100 miles, 150 miles, you come back to town, it's not falling asleep out there. It's just monotonous. That's when I start listening to people with videos like y'all who have videos on your channels. I do check some of them out, and I get led into some pretty interesting rabbit holes. It's great. Anyway, till next time, I'm you, you're not, and I think I already said all that crap.